Hello everybody, today I have a guest in my office. This is a Kingsley. He's living and studying in Ukraine, and he can tell us his experience about living and study in Ukraine. Hello Kingsley.
Oh, hello.
Nice to meet you here.
Nice to meet you too.
So I want to ask you some questions, and I hope you will be glad to answer. Because people very interested to know this information about Ukraine. Maybe they're planning to come and study in Ukraine.
Okay.
They're very interested to know about how to live and study in Ukraine. Yeah,
Okay.
you can tell us about some problems. What did you meet here, and all your opinion and experience, and for good things also, which you met in Ukraine.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think studying in Ukraine is a very good thing. It was a great idea for me to travel all through to Ukraine to study because I've learned a lot, and I think for the students and prospective candidates who want to study in Ukraine, I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. At first, I think you need to introduce yourself a little. Yeah.
Okay. So once again, as she said, my name is Kingsley or Kingsley Chinonso Njoko. I'm a Nigerian and I'm a student here in Ukraine. Basically, I studied international economics and I'm a master student of business administration and international management. I've been in this country for approximately 6 years, and I would say I have lots of experiences to share today with you.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy. So the first question is, how do you choose the university where you studied?
Yes, of course, I think it's easier to find universities to study, but basically, I got to know about Alfred Nobel University of Economics and Law through a friend's recommendation. I had some friends who were in the university, and they gave me good feedback, and I applied for the university, and I think I got what I was expecting. So I think you could get it through recommendation, or you could go through an agency, and there are lots of agencies that are assisting students get suitable universities.
In Nigeria?
Yes, of course, lots of agencies in Nigeria.
So that is why you choose Ukraine.
Yes, of course. So I chose Ukraine basically because Ukraine was at that time a new country. I had never heard about Ukraine, and I saw it as a good experience for me to, give it a try. And I had the tuition was cheaper, it was affordable, and the lifestyle as well was also conducive for foreign students. So I think that was the reason.
Okay. So the second question is the name of your university.
Yeah.
And what you can say about this university? So what the most you like in this university?
Well, basically, I have been through two different universities in two different cities. The first was Alfred Nobel University of Economics and Law, Dnipropetrovsk, and the second, where I'm currently doing a master's program, is Ukrainian American Concordia University, Kiev. So I think for Alfred Nobel University, the university has a reputation of excellence because it has lots of international affiliations and award. You would have a chance of having a double degree from Ukraine and also from its affiliate universities all, in other European countries. And for University of Concordia, Kiev, or Ukrainian American University, I think it's a university that is known for excellence because it's the only university in Ukraine that is certified by the International Business Administration body called FIBA.
Okay.
So it's a well-known university. It's known for its academic excellence, and it's quite affordable too.
And I think study there only in English, yes?
Yes, of course, in English. You would have a chance to enroll for courses such as international business, international management, and business administration. But currently, I think they've enlisted courses like economics, cybernetics, also computer science. I think you have such opportunities here in Kiev.
But that university in Dnipropetrovsk where you study, they have courses in English and in Russian or Ukrainian languages.
Yes,
right?
of course. You could enroll for the English program, which most foreign students enroll for. You could also do the Russian program. That means you would have to study the language. You would have to go through, I think, 6 to 1 year language program. And also you have courses like economics, cybernetics. You have courses like law. You have lots of business and economic related courses to enroll for. I think it's one of the best universities of economics in Ukraine. Yeah.
Good. But you didn't want to study in Russian or Ukrainian, you wanted to study only in English, yes?
Yes, I did. As at the time, I chose to study in the English program. I think it had more benefits for me as an English speaker. Although, if I wanted to study in Russian, I think staying in Ukraine would be a lot more beneficial because of the language advantage. But basically, I took the easy road and I went for the English program. So, but in any which way, I think the both of them are better. Yeah, if you
Okay.
choose. Yeah.
Can you tell about the tuition fee, if you can?
Yeah, I think the
I think
tuition
this
fee-
American university is more expensive than, because it's a private university, and I think it's almost more expensive than other Ukrainian universities.
Yes, of course. I think I would say it's affordable because we follow the American standard, the American curriculum, and
So all your diplomas and certificate you will get from this university, they will you can use without any problem in America, yes?
yes, of course, you could use
In
it
Europe?
anywhere in Europe, in Ukraine, in Europe, because the university is known for its standard and they follow the same course outline with some universities in the United States. So I think studying in Concordia, Ukrainian American Concordia University is good. The tuition is affordable, approximately, I think, per year if you going for a bachelor program, maybe per year approximately $3,000 or so. In comparison to having the same certification in the United States, I think it's very, very affordable. Yeah. Also for economics,
right.
basically approximately $3,000 or so, I think, for tuition. So I think
Yes, a
it's
good price.
basically
It's the same price like in other university
yes, of course.
in Ukraine.
Yes, of course.
So it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it's a good university.
Yeah, I think.
So the next question is, what do you like the most in Ukraine? Which things you like?
Well, basically, what I like about Ukraine, I think there are a lot. There are a lot of things I like about Ukraine. First and foremost, I like the outlook. Ukraine has a good outlook. It's conducive. I've basically not had lots of problems here. I think it's like a second home so far because I've spent approximately 6 years here. So I think if I had not liked this country, I wouldn't have spent such a long time here. But basically, I like the people. The people are nice, conducive, they are understanding. What else again would I say I like about Ukraine? Basically, I like possibly some of the food. Yeah, the food is good. If you would like to try something new, something different, I think Ukraine would be a nice place. And Ukrainians like pets and also like
Pets,
pets,
yes.
yes, of course. Also, if you would like to learn more about investment, I think Ukraine is a place where, apart from studying, it's a nice place to invest because it has potentials to expand.
What do you mean by invest?
Yeah, I mean, basically, most people try to invest because Ukraine is an untapped
Business or
yes, of course, business, agriculture,
property?
business, agriculture,
Okay.
chemicals, natural resources. I think Ukraine is also a good place. Yeah, apart from studying, yes, of course.
Yeah, that is good that you are telling this one now, because the most question I got from
The candidates.
yes, from people who want to come here. It's can I work here? What I can do here? Can I do a business or can I find a work? So what can I find good in Ukraine?
Well, basically, I would say there are lots of opportunities if you are willing to take them. Basically, you could have summer jobs to do in your free time, and just to keep you going as a student. But basically, your study schedule might be very busy. So basically, for students, I think summertime would be perfect to just gain some job experience. And also, you could work, definitely, you could work in your extra school hours. There are jobs that are favorable for English speakers. That's if you can speak English and you're confident enough, I think you would find something to do. But I think for now, that's that. Yeah.
So can you tell us examples?
For example, if you
Which job or work can foreigners find here?
yes, of course, you could get jobs with regards to teaching. If you're a good English speaker, you would teach. You would teach kids. You would teach also adults who want to improve, because this is a Russian and Ukrainian speaking country. Also, you could get jobs in businesses, such as if you're a good negotiator, if you are...
I think even the foreign companies
Yes,
who is
of
working
course,
here,
yes, of course,
they're
in
glad to
foreign
find
companies.
somebody English speaking person.
Yes, of course, yeah. So we have lots of foreign companies that are trooping into Ukraine because of the availability of labor. So you would have opportunities to find something to do in some of these foreign companies. Basically, if you're a facilitator, if you have business ideas or you're business minded, you could also get something to do in Ukraine.
Yeah, I think that the business is very good to do business in Ukraine.
Definitely.
It's a good, like Ukraine is a good platform for business.
Yeah.
If you have something in your mind to do any business, Ukraine is, I think, is very good place.
Definitely.
It's my own
I think it's
opinion.
unsaturated, yeah. Because lots of countries are so saturated. I think Ukraine is unsaturated, so it has potentials to be very flamboyant in
I
future.
think invest to property. It's very good business in Ukraine.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And
And
possibly I'll go into that soon.
yeah, it's very good idea.
Yeah.
So how do you think, is it Ukraine is a friendly country for foreigners?
Yes, of course, Ukraine is quite friendly. They have friendly people. And they have curious people. So if you want to answer questions, they want to know more about you, more about your country, because Ukrainians travel a lot. So because they travel a lot, they would like to know something about your country, to know if it
They
might
have
be
an
the next
interest.
summer destination, something like that. Yeah. So I think they have very, very friendly people.
Okay, it's good, and it's good to know that there are more good people than bad people in Ukraine.
Yes, of course.
So, did you have any bad experience?
Well, for bad experiences, I would not say I do. But basically, I think just a few of them, I think. I remember a time I misplaced something and I could not speak the language. So I think I found
So
it
you
difficult to
recognize that it's very
communicate.
important to learn the language, that to
Definitely.
communicate with people, because the country is not English-speaking country. It's
Definitely.
very important to learn some language, like some words that to
Yeah.
communicate with people, to
Definitely.
find a place or anywhere in the shop, in the transport. Like,
Definitely, definitely.
yeah, it's important in Ukraine because some Ukrainians, they don't know English, and you need to communicate with them. Even you want to go buy something in the shop, you need to speak language.
Definitely, because I think it was my biggest challenge was language, to speak the language, because I failed to enroll for the language program. So I think I found it difficult to learn the language on my own. So I think that's basically the difficulties I faced. Language, maybe weather, but it's quite cold, so the weather is a general thing for everyone. in the winter, if you don't subscribe to cold weather, I think you might find it a little challenging. But in general, it's not.
Yeah, the biggest problem I think even especially for Africans is the cold weather in Ukraine. But even for me, I'm Ukrainian. The weather in Ukraine and winter very cold for me. I also survive with it. Yeah, cold weather in Ukraine. That this is good. We're talking about this one because we can give advice to people who is coming here. Yes, who are coming here that take warm clothes.
Yes, of course, it's necessary.
Or it's better to buy here because we in Ukraine we have special clothes for winter.
Definitely, yeah.
So because I just remembered the situation when I saw some Africans that came to Ukraine and they bought their clothes in Africa, came here, but they were thinking that it will help them here. But then we found that no, winter here is more cold. This clothes is not enough. I need to go and get another jacket, another coat.
Yes, so we made the same mistake, of which I made the same mistake. I came with some kind of a winter jacket, but they were not good enough. So I had to.
Of course, you cannot buy these clothes in Africa. They don't need the people in Africa. They don't need it, and nobody will buy it in Africa.
Definitely.
So
I think that's something that's very important for the prospective students to know.
It's a cold weather. So if you're afraid of cold weather, you need to know in Ukraine in winter, very cold weather. So okay. Next question is visa, about visa, yes?
Yeah.
Let's go this way. So, was it difficult to get a visa for you, visa to Ukraine? We're talking about visa to Ukraine now.
Yeah. Well, basically, I think it was not difficult, but it was stressful. It depends on what medium you go through. If you go through an agency, I think it's a lot easier to go through an agency. You would get it quicker than usual. But I did it on my own based on some connections I had and some friends I knew who were already in Ukraine. They gave me advice from the experience.
But this is a very good point.
Yeah.
You did everything by yourself and you got it without...
Yes, of course I did it.
Without any problem. So you got it. This is the important thing.
Yes, of course. So it depends on how you go through. But basically, if you are not familiar with how it goes, I think you would go to someone who knows or who has an idea, or someone who is already in Ukraine. For example, I don't know if I think you would be a good link to link people up. Those who want to come to Ukraine, I think you would be a better option.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. So the next question is, what are the criteria to comply with when applying for visa? Yes, we're talking about visa again.
Yes, of course. So if you're applying for a visa, I think it's necessary you have a valid passport, possibly above 3 years. That could stay up to 3-4 years. And also you need to get your certificates, your documents, your birth certificates, everything legalized. No mistakes. You need an insurance. You need, what else again? You need, I think, first and foremost, an invitation. It's necessary. So if you're thinking of getting a visa, you need your invitation and you need everything legalized and put in place. And I don't think you have a reason to not to be given a visa.
About legalization, yes. The legalization, they need to go for legalization is Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja.
Yes, of course. Yes,
this is for Nigerians, especially for Nigerians.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and about invitation, this is my work. I'm giving invitation to students, study invitation, and all types of invitation to Ukraine.
Yes, of course.
So, but of course, getting the visa, it's I think it depends on the person, because the person will go for interview, and I think it's also important how you will behave yourself in interview and what
Yes,
you
of
will
course.
say.
Yes, of course.
And
Yes, of
of course they will check all your documents, for example bank account,
Yes,
yeah,
of course, the bank statement.
yeah,
Okay.
bank statement, and you need to have everything that embassy requires, yes,
Yes, of course.
for visa. So
Yes, of course.
if it's you don't give them all, it's you need to blame yourself
Yeah,
if
you might
you
have
if you
some.
cannot get a visa, if you, yeah,
Yes,
if
of
you have
course.
if you got refused, yes.
Yes, of course.
So you need to blame yourself and not talking that it's
Yes, of
embassy is
course.
very bad. They
Yeah,
didn't give
because
me
that's a
visa.
problem.
Yeah.
That's a real problem. Yeah, because some people, what they bring or the documents does not maybe comply with what they say in time of interview. So you know your documents, you know your name, you know where you got them, you know your school living certificate. So you just be free enough to give corresponding answers, and definitely you'll get the visa.
So
Process.
do you know what is important to for consular to see when they will interview you? Yes. What is the main reason you're going to Ukraine? If you're going to study, if he is clearly see that you're going for study, I think you will not have any problem to
No,
get a
you would
visa.
not have
But
a
if the
problem.
person he's talking anyhow, he doesn't know what he's going to
Yeah.
do, he just telling some fairy tales. You know, the consular, he's not stupid, but
Yes,
some
of
people
course.
they think that he's very stupid. You can tell
Anything.
any scene, any fairy tale comes to your mind, and they will believe and give you
Yes,
this.
of
You
course.
understand?
Yes, of
You
course.
need to have good documents and good story and good reason.
Yes, of course.
Because even today I got a message from one person. I went to embassy of Ukraine and they didn't give me visa. They're very stupid, and you know,
Yeah,
something
right.
like this. Why are you talking about my embassy? So I knew that this person, you know, he contacted me before. I knew he will not get visa because the person he doesn't know even what he's going to do in Ukraine.
Oh, and that's a
This is
big
his
problem.
fault
That's a
that
big
he
problem.
yes this is his fault because he went to embassy for interview and he could not even tell the consular what exactly he's going to do in
Do,
Ukraine.
yeah,
You
yeah.
understand? Who will give you visa? Even if I'm consular, I will not give you visa.
Definitely.
You
That's a
understand?
big
So
problem.
you should not blame consular or country or embassy. They're very bad. They didn't give me visa.
Yeah.
It's very good because they didn't give you visa because Ukraine doesn't need illegal people here.
Definitely. No one needs them.
Yeah, it's no. I think any country they will do like this. You
Yeah,
understand?
definitely.
It's because
Because
no one
interest-
country needs illegal people,
Definitely. I
and
think, everyone protects the welfare and the interest of their indigenous.
of
people.
course it's
Yeah.
very logical. Yes,
Yes,
it's
of
very
course.
logical, and normal people should understand this one.
Definitely.
So if you're going for study, yeah, it's very good. You will put something to economic in Ukraine. Where Ukraine is welcome country,
Yes, of
where
course.
welcome foreigners. If we see the person will put something to economic in Ukraine, you understand.
Definitely.
We are always welcome to people, but you should not. You need to come with good, you
With good
understand?
reason,
Yes,
yeah.
with good, not to you should not come with bad, something bad to Ukraine. You need to come with good.
Yeah, you
You
just
un-
come with a mindset that you're going there to add a value to the country, and definitely you'll get the visa.
So that is it, and it's very good. You're telling now that you got it very easy,
Yep.
and because you know many people complain that because they were refused or
Yeah.
visa. So it's good we are talking about this one now.
Yep.
So which next question we have is what is your advice to prospective, yes,
Prospective students, yeah.
students
Candidates.
and candidates?
Well, my advice is simple. First and foremost, as I said earlier, Ukraine is a very welcoming country. Ukraine is a big country, industrious. They have lots of opportunities here. So I think if you succeed in getting the visa, I would want you to just stay focused. You came for studies. You have a chance of being excellent if you study hard. And possibly before you get the visa, I just want you to get all your documentations right. Get everything right. Get your medical certificates, your insurances. Get everything legalized and get it right, and definitely you will get the visa. So once you come to the country, you would possibly need to follow every necessary protocols, because it's not like Nigeria. Over there we have, this is a different society entirely, and the system works differently. So I think you would move into the country with a new mindset. You're in a country where the system works, and everything is streamlined to ensure that you stay safe and focused. So I think everything would be good. Just stay safe and focused.
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
Feel you safe in Ukraine?
Yeah, you'll feel safe here.
You feel safe here?
Yeah.
Feel you safe in Nigeria?
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, Nigeria is home. Basically, there's no place like home. I think the two countries have become home to me. But basically, I felt safe at home. I could not, or I cannot say much about the socio-political landscape right now in Nigeria, but I think I felt safe at home. There's no place like home. But Ukraine is also very safe, and Ukraine has a lot to offer to foreigners like you watching from home.
Good. So, another question is, what can you say about standard of living in Ukraine? Is it very expensive country? I think it's good to talk about it, because I think the Ukraine the most cheapest country in Europe.
Yes, I think Ukraine, the standard of living is very, very affordable. Because I think your government, the government of Ukraine, subsidizes everything. The transport is subsidized, the agricultural product is subsidized, the education is subsidized. So I think the standard of living is very affordable for foreigners and for students alike. So do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to be here. Approximately...
It's not like Britain or America.
No. I think everything is subsidized, so the standard of living would not be a problem here in Ukraine.
So, okay, let's talk about some prices, yes? For example, how do you think you need to spend for food per month or for accommodation per month?
Well, basically, I would say it depends also on the location. You know, Kiev is a very, I would say, a lot more expensive in comparison to other cities and regions in Ukraine.
If the capital is normal, Abuja also more expensive than other cities.
Yeah, so I think maybe for accommodation, if you're a student, you have two options: to live in a hostel or to live in a flat. So I think in a hostel, average would be possibly between $70 to $100 per month for accommodation. And if you would opt for the more expensive accommodation, which is the flat, I think you would expect something within $150 to $300 basically. Yeah.
In Kiev.
In Kiev, well, approximately 300, but 150 to 300 basically.
And if we are talking about food, it's, I think, like $200 it will be okay per month. 200 or 300
for feeding. Or basically 100. It depends. 100 or less. Yeah, because
per month.
Yes, of course. 100, 200, but it depends on the person. Because if you, for example, I don't eat. So I think
one person eats just small, like goats, and somebody eats too much. So yes, it depends how much the person eats. But the maximum, I think, yes, $200. It's will be okay for you to eat very well in Ukraine, because food in Ukraine very cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
So that is it. What again? I think we finished. I don't have any questions again. We talk a lot, yes.
Yeah.
And I asked already, what is the biggest problem you met in Ukraine? This is the last question.
Well, basically, as we already emphasized, one of the major problems you might have would be language, and maybe for the first few months you would possibly need an assistance. Maybe if you have students who've already lived for a longer time, it would be a great advantage. I think language would be a problem, to know how to move around, to navigate through the city, to know how to get something, to know how to communicate and pass information across might be a big challenge. Also, if you are going for the language program, yes, of course, you might stumble a bit learning a new language. I think we all go through the same problem. So I think language might be, and secondly, if you have a phobia for cold, I think it might also be challenging in the winter only. Because I think Ukraine has about 4 different seasons.
Yeah, we have 4 seasons in Ukraine. Is spring,
I think it's my best. It's the best.
spring, summer, autumn, and
The
winter.
yeah.
Every season, 3 months. But then I think the last 2 years, it's winter more takes now more time.
Yes, of course.
And even in summer less
Yes,
time.
Of course. Yes, of course.
So that you should be used to live in the cold weather.
Yep.
But I just remembered one situation. One guy who studied in Ukraine contacted me, asked, "Can you help me? The university, what is the word in English? Went the through your way, university.
You were expelled.
Expelled. The university expelled me. I said, what happens? I'm not going to study. Why you don't go to study? Because winter. Because I feel cold.
Yeah.
Don't go to university. I said, it's a normal thing. If you don't go to university will expel you, yes?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So some of us face the same challenge. When you feel too possibly too caged down in the winter to study and stuff like that, but I think it could be resolved. If you have such issues, you could also schedule a favorable time for you in some schools, because in my master's program I study in the evening. Yes, of course. So if you have a good schedule, possibly for the master student, you could also have a favorable shift for yourself. So I think if you have issues with studying, we could maybe look for a way to assist and provide solutions. Yeah.
But I met many Nigerians who told me that they like cold and they don't like heat in Nigeria. They want to come and live in a cold country. It's better for them. But me, I prefer more hot than cold. And another thing I want to explain about assistance, yes, in Ukraine. When you came in Ukraine, yes, at first you need assistance from somebody. This job is doing agent in Ukraine. Yes. So, for example, I'm meeting my students in an airport. I'm bringing them to hostel, put them in hostel. Then I will prepare all papers they need for university, and I will bring them to university, show everything for any problems they have, where they need to go, maybe when I'm not around, you understand. This is your agent in Ukraine is like your mommy, your mom is still in your country, but your agent in Ukraine like mommy here. Anytime you will call, any problem you have, any questions you have, you will call and ask. Am I right?
Yeah, to help the person
So yes, first few months you need help from somebody, because the country is not English speaking country, and you need somebody who knows the language, who will go with you everywhere and translate you and solve all your problems. This is the most important, because if you don't know language, you will come and you cannot ask, you cannot find something. So you need help from somebody. This is very important to come and get help from agents. So we welcome you to Ukraine.
Welcome.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask. Of course, we will answer you. And this is that's all for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I want to say goodbye to those at home and those who are planning to come to Ukraine. Feel free, make your research if you want, get your documentations right, and I'll be hoping to see you in Ukraine.
so bye bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching us.
Thank you.